This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Realistic Sustainability Educational Shorts. It is very common to hear people complain about the government and to say that they shouldn't spend money on sustainability projects. Win or lose, they're always a bad investment. That is what most people say. And I think it really stems from political sides. Sustainability seems to be a political pariah. The red side thinks 100% of it should be opposed, mainly because they're highly paid by other industries that are kind of against it. Blue team pretends like they're going to be there. They pretend like they're really in for it, but they really give you just the tiniest of taste and then don't do any more, mainly because they're financed by the same people. Most people only hear about sustainability during politics, which is kind of useless. I like to strip that out of there, not have it as part of the discussion. So just for now, let's set that aside. So when it comes to sustainability, or actually, let's talk about the government. So when it comes to the government, it has a role. Not just in sustainability, but in anything that helps society that is not viable yet for commercial sale. And that's what most people say. Most people say if it's any good, the private sector will take care of it. Well, not if it's not profitable. So if it's not profitable today, is it something so important it would be tomorrow? Well, that's where the government steps in. It does that research. It does those trials. It does things to find out. The government has always started the technology, always put the money in to see if it is viable. For examples, let's look at our wireless phones. National wireless providers did not build that network all on their own. They were receiving massive subsidies. Actually, since the early 80s, if not before that, billions and billions of dollars. And you're thinking, well, it pretty much covers almost everywhere. So that's done, and they take that money away. No, we still subsidize wireless service in the United States to the tune of about $14 billion a year. Yeah, $14 billion a year, money poured into wireless providers to ensure that the wireless network is robust. And most of us probably think it primarily is, but that's not even counting the profits that they get from us. That is just subsidy to make the network bigger. Same thing with the oil industry. People always complain about electric cars and we don't have a network. Well, there wasn't a network for internal combustion engines either. Remember that. At one point, people with horses were having the same arguments and picking on those who wanted cars and this future idea of crazy. Well, here we are, probably 100 years later. They're still getting around $20 billion in subsidies to fossil fuel companies, which about $16 billion goes to oil and gas. We have subsidized almost every medical advancement. We have subsidized all of our agriculture and farming up to $16 billion a year. We subsidize the auto industry. Does anybody think the auto industry hasn't peaked or isn't doing just fine? Well, $17 billion a year in the United States goes to the auto industry in different subsidies. Now, one of my favorite actual subsidies is NASA and space exploration. NASA produces more money based on the things it invents than what it spends. It has created industry after industry after industry just through its NASA spin-off programs. It creates new technologies and then gives them to the private sector once they become viable. They're not viable when you first do it because you're inventing it. No one even knows what you're going to use it for. But over time, things like freeze-dried food and memory foam, the firefighter equipment that we use in every city, dust busters, cochlear implants, almost everything in a hospital was designed and created by NASA. Over 2,000 more NASA spinoffs go from this organization funded by the US government than to the private sector. Why do I tell you all of this? Because when it comes to sustainability, it doesn't matter if it's research on waste reduction or clean energy production. The government does have a role. It's to take the risk. Its job is to subsidize things like improved energy grids or solar, wind, hydrogen, looking to see which one of these is the most viable. Once they stand out, once they show I'm the most viable, private sector will then take over. But until then, the government takes the risk because companies can't. They have to have infinite growth. And you can't have infinite growth if you're constantly taking chances. So if you hear people arguing and complaining, especially when it comes to sustainability factors, remind them the oil industry, wireless service, and countless others were subsidized so that they could become viable and that capitalist markets could then take advantage of them. Until then, it's the government's job to find out if they're viable. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, share it with a friend or share it on social media. If you want to help realistic sustainability, click that follow button on whatever podcast platform you're on. Clicking that really helps us out just by adding that number to our totals. My favorite is just simply leaving a 5-star review or a comment. I like to read them, so when I can find them and see them, I sit down and enjoy them. So I do appreciate for those you already have, and those that you haven't, I look forward to it. Leave a comment for us. And last, those of you who feel like this show really brings a value to your life and you want to help out financially, you can. You can support realistic sustainability both by going to anchor.fm or greeningyourlife.org/podcast. And there you can actually support us either through individual donation one time, or you can set up a monthly with 99 cents, $4.99, $9.99, whatever you think per month. Either way, we do greatly appreciate it. And we're kind of humbled with the fact that you spend your time with us. So thank you. We appreciate your support. And remember, we only get together each week just to get a little bit better. Little bit, big bit. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.
Learning should always be fun. It's proven. When you make it fun, kids will remember. Here at STEMnetics, we believe in teaching kids about science, technology, engineering, and math by building projects. These students are building robots, rockets, electrical circuits, cars, and much more. STEM surrounds us, and the biggest companies in the world are tech companies. Let us help you support your little scholars and prepare them for the future. For more information, visit us at stemnetics.org.